I wanted to ask you, obviously, Common Defense being a progressive veterans organization that does call out and work against, endless war. How do you square that in terms of, being against a lot of U.S. foreign policy and a lot of what the military has come to represent? Let's be real, with a lot with the endless war ever since 9/11 and before. And also still organizing within that space for LGBTQ plus rights and that kind of equity.
Yeah, I mean, I think, just like a quick foreign policy in itself is very like dark and cynical. And, we've overthrown so many governments and destroyed people's homes and lives. And, being part of the anti-war movement in itself is an ongoing effort that we are very much still working on within Common Defense, especially as far as like we're supporting obviously the repeal of the authorization of use of military force that came out in 2001. And, just being a part of the LGBTQ plus community and doing this work in of itself is challenging because a lot of people will even question my veteran status. I look young. I don't look like the normal veteran. And being able to, come here and be part of this progressive organization has allowed me to find my space in the veterans world. I denounced my vet status when I got out of the military. I had wanted nothing to do with politics. And it wasn't until I found Common Defense that I finally found my home. And, there's a bunch of other folks just like me. And I can look at our meetings and see people who look like me, who sound like me. And so, yeah, it's great.
Because I think like what NATO was saying, obviously joking, but like the idea that, I think that for a lot of folks on the left where we're like, well, we don't see the military as a space to kind of like make better because we don't often agree with what the U.S. military is doing around the world. And yet that's where you have, the lack of attention, the lack of seeing that from the left and from progressives as an organizing space, then leads to massive amounts of harm being done to soldiers who are serving. And that there can be a vision for a less belligerent force and less occupational force that the U.S. military currently serves. So.
Definitely, for sure. I mean, I think that within the military itself, people are very well aware of, the troubles that we have, but the fact that it's not talked about in any sort of media on the regular, unless it is something that usually involves higher ranking people or, Congress members themselves, the military is often swept under the rug, especially enlisted soldiers. And I think that is such, a thing for people to say, I'm here and I support the military. And if I come up and I walk up to them and I say, guess what? I'm a trans non-binary veteran. They're going to be like, F you,
right.
Because I don't. Military.
Yeah, not that military. Right. So, you can't say that you support the military and all soldiers when you first off don't even really know what's going on. And secondly, you don't actually support all soldiers. And there's so much, corruption within, just the military and within its funding. Just everything that has been like recently kind of dug up of trillions of dollars that have been spent on this endless war overseas. And, now people are, depending on what's in the news, people are either, oh, yes, gung ho, go to war, military, or no, get back, stay home. We should disband the military entirely. So it's really
you are like a glitch in like the cognitive dissonance it takes for a right winger to understand like your identity and role and like ideology. It's just like what do you mean? Like
there's a comedian who had a very funny joke earlier on in the Iraq War. His name is Yoram Bauman, where he would be like, anti-war people would be like, bring the troops home, and then people would be like, how dare you undermine the war effort? And they'd be like, okay, leave the troops there. No, not that either. Start by describing the more fabulous uniforms, by the way.
Yeah, start by describing what color are we wearing.
Yeah. Depends on the season. You never know. Yeah. But no, I agree.
Can you have camouflage sequins? How does it work?
Let's talk about it. No, that defeats the whole purpose, NATO.
This is a lack of education about the U.S. military, but no. But no, I definitely, agree with your first sentiments. I think that, the military has this awesome opportunity. I mean, the DoD, takes a huge part in humanitarian assistance and aid, and utilizing that as like the first and foremost reason for the military. I think going into anywhere thinking that, this is for war, this is to fight in a war, is already going in with the wrong mindset. But that's just, a quick overview. And I think there's things that we can, help with as far as like starving countries and natural disasters that occur that the U.S. military would be great for.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that has to change, the extremism, the racism, the sexism, the homophobia, all of the things that go into what sadly the U.S. military is today. I'm not proud to say I serve sometimes. I'm embarrassed because I know what, it is about, and I know what happens. And you see, these articles coming up about, Vanessa Guillen and everything that happened with, around the MJIA. And it's just shocking to me that people still like that's already, old news. People still aren't talking about it, but there's still not a real fix. So we, first and foremost, we need to put policies in place and hold people accountable, no matter what rank they are, and, get them out of the military, those that need be, and have more extensive background checks of those coming in, because, a lot of people do think that the military is just a war creating machine and creating those wartime soldiers. And that's why they join. And that's not why someone should join, because that's not what we're about. And that's not what we should be about.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do